Joe Biden and his remarks on evictions. Nancy Pelosi, she's waving the white flag. And Mitch McConnell is actually working with Democrats. Just a few of the updates we're going to be talking about in today's stimulus check and stimulus update. Wow, this is actually big stuff. There's a lot of developments that have been happening over the last couple days. So let's get right into it and discuss what we have as of today, Thursday, December 3rd. This is actually pretty exciting. As many of us know, prior to the election, things were going pretty well, and then all of a sudden negotiations abruptly stopped. After the election, nothing was happening up until a couple days ago. Just a couple days ago, we had dramatic shifts in the negotiation process, and now things are actually starting to progress. This is actually incredible. I didn't think many of us would actually believe that we would be here at this point, but things are actually moving into gear, and we may actually get something done by the end of next week before all these congressional people decide that they're going to go on vacation and their next recess. So let's jump right into this and talk about what we have. This is actually pretty exciting. So let's see what we have as of today. But hey, if you haven't done so already, please be sure you're subscribed by hitting that button down below. I'm back on a daily basis as the underdog advocate, looking out for everybody that watches these videos, including those of you receiving Social Security, SSI, VA, RRB, low income, and even no income. So thank you so much for your continued support, and be sure you're subscribed. All right, so Joe Biden was out in an interview, and he was expressing his ideas and thoughts about evictions. Here's what he had to say. Joe Biden said nobody should be evicted from their apartment or home until after the crisis has ended. Well, not until after, but until the crisis has ended. In other words, that the eviction ban that we have going on right now that's set to expire in about 4 weeks, not even 4 weeks, at the end of this year. Basically, Joe Biden is saying, hey, we can't let that expire. We need to continue to push that out, continue to extend it until this crisis has actually ended, which all of us know that could be a very long time from now. I mean, that could be mid-2021. It could be late 2021. We could be in this situation for a lot longer than many people probably think. It's probably going to be many more months until this whole thing is completely over. So that's actually good. I've been a huge proponent of this as well. I feel like to evict people, number one, is just a bad thing to do. Number two, to do it January 1st or January in the United States, not cool. That's a cold month. I don't know where you guys are from, but where I'm from, nobody wants to be outside in January. By the way, I'm in the upper Midwest. It gets cold here. It's actually pretty cold right now anyway. So that's actually really good. Whether anybody actually listens to Joe Biden and puts an extension on the eviction ban, who knows? But I think many of us can agree, yeah, not cool to send people out of their homes in January for sure. So that's actually really good. At the same time, Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer, they're waving the white flag. They're throwing in the towel, like I talked about in yesterday's video. However, this is good. That's not a slam on Nancy. It's not a slam on Chuck Schumer, but rather it's actually good that they are coming together. Prior to just a couple days ago, Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer have been stuck on their $2.2 to $2.4 trillion stimulus proposal. However, on Tuesday, they came out and said that they would accept the $908 billion bipartisan proposal that hit the table. So this is good. However, Nancy Pelosi said that she's going to be making some recommendations. In other words, she wants to add some things to the proposal, which is totally fine. That's how negotiations work, right? One party comes to the table with an offer and the other party comes back and counter offers. That's totally acceptable. However, let's hope that Nancy Pelosi is reasonable with whatever exceptions and recommendations she wants to give. Hopefully she's reasonable within the realm of what Mitch McConnell is willing to accept and push through. If she loses her mind and comes back with another trillion, of course, Mitch McConnell's just going to say no. So I feel like Nancy could probably get away with a couple $100 billion, but that's probably it. A touch over $1 trillion as a total price tag is probably about all Mitchie Boy is probably going to want to spend right now. When I say Mitchie Boy, I'm talking about Mitch McConnell. But anyway, so I would anticipate, like I said in my video yesterday afternoon, I said that I would anticipate Nancy to probably come back with anywhere between $200 billion and $400 billion of additional spending on top of this $908 billion. I anticipate she's probably going to come back with Maybe a little bit more for state and local. The current proposal has 160. I'm guessing she's probably going to want to push that a tad over 200, maybe like 210 to 250-ish, maybe another 100 billion there for state and local. I would anticipate she maybe wants to bump up the rental assistance a little bit more, maybe add a little bit of food aid. Many of us here would agree. Yeah, some food aid would be nice, food assistance. And maybe throw in some stimulus checks. That would be a price tag of a little, just call it 300 billion. So I think at most Nancy Pelosi is going to come back with a total price tag of probably a touch over 1.3 trillion. That's kind of my guess. She wants to kind of, take as much as she can, but at the same time, get it within that price tag that Mitch McConnell will still accept. So at this point, I feel like Mitch McConnell, the ball is in your court. Nancy has come down, and now it's time for him to come up and kind of meet right in the middle, the middle-ish ground for everybody to be happy. I think everybody needs to recognize both parties are not going to get everything that they want. Everybody knows this, but at the same time, everybody also recognizes next year, early next year in 2021, after the new administration and after the inauguration on January 20th, everybody recognizes there's probably going to be much more discussion about additional stimulus at that time. However, right now, in early December, we need something to bridge the gap from where we are now until, call it basically late January, call it just February for an example. So basically, we need a bridge from now for the next 2 months. And I think that's what they're working on, which is why the sides are compromising, because they recognize this is urgent. We need something now to bridge the gap. We can always hit the table again in 2 months from now, in let's just say late January, and discuss all this stuff again. And what did we miss? Where do we need more spending? Who do we need to offer relief to once again? And they can come back to the table and do that again early next year. So this is good stuff, really good stuff. I mean, the shift that we've had in the last 2 days has been impressive at the same time. So Mitch McConnell and Steny Hoyer have been meeting a couple times this week to discuss the government spending bill as well as the stimulus negotiations. At the same time, Mitch McConnell and Steny Hoyer have both also agreed that they can add provisions onto the government spending bill that is coming due late next week. So what they want to do is they want to attach these provisions to the government spending bill and kind of push it through all together. Now, whether they attach all of the stimulus spending to it, or maybe they just attach a little bit here and there to the government spending bill, who knows how they want to do this, but it sounds like they do want to attach some of it to the government spending bill and push it through. Now, another thing too that we could be thinking is maybe this is their way to kind of backdoor some of this into an agreement and get President Trump to sign it, because we don't know what President Trump wants to sign at this point. We really don't. Prior to the election, he was ready to sign a couple $1 trillion worth of spending. But now it's after the election. We have no idea what he wants to sign at this point. So maybe they add some of those more controversial items, or maybe, some of the things that are more urgent, and they attach it to that government spending bill, present it to President Trump and say, hey, sign it. Otherwise, we're going to go into a partial government shutdown. And then President Trump will maybe just sign it instead. So it could be kind of like a sneaky way to kind of backdoor some of this stuff into an agreement to get it passed right away. So just a thought. Anyway, so this is good stuff. Of course, there's a ton of different statements. There's quotes, all kinds of stuff. I could sit here for an hour and talk about all the different statements that have been made in the last 24 hours or even 12 hours by so many different people. But realistically, I like to boil it all down into just the important points and just present those to you. However, we're waiting on the additional recommendations from Nancy Pelosi. So here we are, Thursday morning. The end of the week is near, but it sounds like they want to present this stuff by the end of the week before the weekend. So I'm going to be watching this stuff closely today and tomorrow to see what that is and see what the final price tag is on all of this stuff, because Mitch McConnell's going to be watching that stuff very, very closely, the final price tag, because he is, he's concerned about additional spending. So we'll have to continue watching that, and hopefully, I'm actually confident that these people can actually come together before the end of the year, especially before the end of next week when all these people hit the road again to go home for the holidays. So This is actually good stuff. It's very encouraging to actually see they're coming together. Actually, Mitch McConnell was out in a statement also saying that both parties are coming together in more of an accommodative phase of the negotiations. So that's actually pretty strong language out of Mitch McConnell, who, just like Nancy, they kind of been bashing each other over the last few weeks. So they're actually working together. Kind of weird, but at the same time, kind of funny. All right, one last thing really quickly. Today, Thursday morning, the initial jobless claims number was released, came in at 712,000 new people applied for unemployment benefits last week. So I like to keep an eye on that number because it gives us a gauge as to the job market and how the economy is doing, absent of the financial or the stock market. So anyway, enjoy your day. I guess I'll probably see you later today. I'm sure I'm going to see you later today because I'm sure there's going to be a lot more information being released. So either way, between now and then, enjoy your day, stay safe, and I'll catch you a little bit later. Thanks, everybody. See you soon.